りだな、麦わら。ここにいていいのが、もうすぐ始まるぞ。おめえの兄貴の公開処刑がよ。ぜはははは。
エースは死なせねえ。
Yo, what is up guys, Fer here, and today we're going to be talking about Luffy versus Blackbeard, probably one of the most anticipated One Piece fights of all time. It's going to be up there with Zoro versus Mihawk, and maybe Sanji versus Kizaru. I'm not entirely sure who Sanji's matchup is going to be at the end of series, but we all know the monster trio will have insane fights later on in the story. But before we get into this video, subscribe if you're new here, like the video if you want to see more content. But let's get on to this video. Now, the battle between Luffy versus Blackbeard has been set up ever since Luffy met, Blackbeard at Jaya. Even though we had the memorable speech that Blackbeard gave about how men's dreams never die, Luffy and Zoro still sensed something off about Blackbeard. There was tension at that point in time, but it wasn't like anger or hatred, but more so, I respect you, but you are not who you say you are, which is a theme that goes back to what Whitebeard said during Marineford about Blackbeard being some sort of fake, and he said that you are not the person who Roger's waiting for. And we even had moments in which Blackbeard showed fear in the face of death, unlike the other members of the D family that have died so far. And I feel like Luffy more so followed his instincts when it came down to who he thought Blackbeard was, and there has always been a contrast between Blackbeard and Luffy. These two individuals are very similar when it comes down to their personality, but what they value is a lot different. Blackbeard in a sense is what Luffy would be if Luffy was evil. Now when Luffy and Blackbeard have their final battle, it's probably going to be for the One Piece, or maybe Blackbeard becomes the Pirate King before Luffy and Luffy takes his title afterwards. Now that would be a nice twist, but I feel like the stakes would be way higher if these two are fighting for that goal. Now Luffy versus Blackbeard, probably one of the greatest battle in One Piece, if not the greatest. Now while Luffy is gonna reach that level in strength eventually, I do have my problems with this fight, especially when it comes down to the raw potential of Blackbeard end of series. Now Blackbeard and Luffy are definitely gonna be at the top of the verse when this battle goes down. If anything, I think Blackbeard most likely earns a title as the strongest man when he takes down Shanks, because we all think Shanks in some way, shape, or form is going to get taken down by Blackbeard. And the fact that he might also earn a third devil fruit ability that he might steal from Kaido, which is a popular theory. Knowing how Blackbeard operates, I'm not going to be surprised if this guy comes in the last minute and takes Kaido's ability for himself, which in return completes this ultimate devil fruit package that he has in his arsenal. The Quake fruit that he got from Whitebeard, which is stated to be the strongest Paramecia, the Darkness fruit, which is said to be the strongest Logia, and finally the strongest zone ability from Kaido. And at this point, this is definitely going to push him beyond the boundaries of a Yonko, because just with the current two he has right now, he's on equal terms with the Yonko. Adding a third fruit would be devastating. The strongest offense, the strongest defense, and the strongest physical form. Yeah, there's not a lot of people that would be able to match Blackbeard in terms of overall power. He has way too much in his arsenal, and this could put him on that, prime Whitebeard Roger level, or maybe even above these guys. And I also think Luffy is going to be up there as well, but it's clear that Blackbeard is going to have the advantage in this fight. And the reason I say this is because we have to look at both sides. Luffy has one devil fruit that is definitely weaker than all three individual fruits that Blackbeard has. Each fruit Blackbeard has outclasses the Gomu Gomu no Mi by a huge margin at a base form. Now obviously Luffy is a prodigy, and with how creative he's proven himself to be, he's definitely going to make this fruit stronger, and taking things like awakening into account, that would push his power even further to a new level. But that same logic applies to Blackbeard. If Luffy awakens, there's a good chance that Blackbeard may achieve awakening as well, and this makes more sense given the fact that Blackbeard is very knowledgeable about devil fruits, and perhaps he knows the steps into awakening one's devil fruit power. And when we take a look at the events of Marineford, seconds after getting the Quake fruit from Whitebeard, Blackbeard created a shockwave that was greater than Whitebeard's heaven and earth. Now Blackbeard did state that he doesn't have as much control, but still the fact that he was able to achieve something of that scale seconds after getting the fruit was pretty impressive. I feel like what Oda was trying to tell us is that this is only a glimpse of the true potential of the Quake fruit. Now it sounds like I'm overhyping Blackbeard, but given the setups that Oda has planned in the story, it's hard to ignore that Blackbeard is going going to be insanely overpowered, and this is just based on the potential of his devil fruits that he's obtained. Now, the only way I can see Luffy closing the gap is complete mastery of all forms of Haki. That's going to be very important. So essentially, Luffy would need advanced observation that we've seen with Katakuri, advanced ornament, which I think we're going to see during Wano with the calamities, or maybe with Kaido, and finally advanced conquerors, which I think will be the biggest power-up that Luffy will have, even above the awakening of his fruit. Now, even though we have no clue of what King's Haki is capable of, I think we all have the assumption that it's going to be extremely overpowered, and the reason for that is the individual known as Shanks. Out of all the Yonko, this guy looks like the most normal, yet he's revered to the point that he might be the strongest character in One Piece. The fact that he doesn't need a devil fruit to compete with the other Yonkos who have both devil fruit abilities and Haki means that there's a higher level to Haki, especially conquerors. I think Shanks is the only Yonko that has advanced conquerors at this point, but then again, the Yonkos haven't really gone all out yet, so that is yet to be confirmed. So I feel like this is something Luffy must have in his arsenal, and it has to be on the level of Shanks. The way I envision Luffy endgame, take Shanks with all his abilities with the complete mastery of the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Now this should even things out to the point that Luffy can take on all of Blackbeard's abilities, so Luffy should technically close that gap. What I forget to mention is that Blackbeard also has a huge potential when it comes down to Haki. I've seen a lot of people say Blackbeard doesn't have Haki because he doesn't need to. Well, Blackbeard was the first person who displayed observation Haki by saying Luffy's bounty was too small for his spirit, and this was during Jaya. And it only makes sense for a Yonko of the Sea to have Haki. Now, does he have Conqueror's Haki? Definitely. I feel like every Yonko should have King's Haki because they're all kings in some type of regard, and Blackbeard has proven himself to have these qualities by attracting individuals such as Shiryu and the prisoners from level 6 of Impel down. So when it comes down to Blackbeard's Haki, I don't think it's going to be his main focus given the fact that he has all these fruits at his disposal, so he's going to work more on his fruit more so than anything else, but he'll use it when it's necessary. But overall, I think he's going to be the stronger of the two when it comes to their battle. And even if you're worried about Blackbeard being too overpowered end of series, there's 4 key traits that will eventually bring him down. The first and the biggest one is overconfidence. We saw what happened when Blackbeard thought too highly of himself just because he felt like he was stronger. In the face of Whitebeard, we saw things didn't exactly play out as planned, and he got wrecked. Even Whitebeard stated that this was one of his major flaws. We know that there's going to be moments in the fight where Blackbeard is going to underrate Luffy, and that's going to backfire on him big time. The second one is the weakness of the Yami Yami no Mi, which makes Blackbeard absorb more pain than usual. And knowing how strong Luffy will be at this point in time, let's just say Blackbeard is going to be hurting a lot in this battle. Luffy's attacks are going to be extremely devastating, but Blackbeard has also shown an extreme level of endurance, but let's see how that plays out. The third one is that his Haki may not be anything special given the fact that he's extremely focused and reliant on devil fruit abilities that he's obtained. So this is something that we can definitely say that Luffy is going to have the upper hand with. Now the fourth one is purely speculation on my part, but basically I think there could be a huge drawback to Blackbeard having all these fruits at the same time. With great power comes great responsibility, and this basically goes back to an idea I have about devil fruit possessions, whereas the soul within the fruit could affect the user in some way, shape, or form, especially the Yami Yami no Mi. It was stated to be the most evil devil fruit in existence. Perhaps that might play a role in Blackbeard's defeat. And apart from Vegapunk, I feel like we may get a lot of information about devil fruits and how they work from Blackbeard as well. We've seen Blackbeard throughout the course of the story boasting about how he's the strongest because he has all these fruits. And we know that he somehow has an obsession over devil fruits because of the powers that they grant. I feel like Oda might do something whereas the powers that brought him to his current position would be the very same powers that would ultimately bring him down. That would be really symbolic if Oda chooses that route. But I'm hyped. This battle is going to be amazing. I feel like we're going to see Luffy in a very miserable state after taking a couple of beatdowns from Blackbeard. But one thing we know will definitely happen is that he's always going to get back up to finish the job. That has been Luffy's thing ever since the beginning of this journey. This is the same man who got killed twice and came back stronger. So I'm not worried about Luffy at all. But that's pretty much it for the video, guys. Do you think Blackbeard having all forms of Haki along with 3 devil fruit is overpowered, or do you think Luffy can handle this on his own regardless? Comment down below what you guys think. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe for more One Piece content. Hit the notification bell if you want to get notified for future content. It is Pharaoh, and I will see you folks later. Peace.